Hey everybody! In these business as unusual times, we definitely have seen many changes. I had a discussion with my son Liam after he complained nothing was open on a Sunday afternoon and that his Nintendo battery dies, all he can do is go ride his bike, and the only way we can go to a movie is to go to a drive-in for entertainment. Seriously, there's actually an active, still working drive-in movie place just up the road from Tampa. I also told him that this was what life was like in the 70s. It's interesting that there are some things that are making a comeback or resurgence due to the changing times we are experiencing. One of the things I'm also seeing is a resurgence of community banks and credit unions. You want to learn more? Stay tuned. As we are seeing changes and some things old become new again, or a resurgence in the things once thought lost or left behind in the past, one area of great change is the resurgence of the community bank and credit union. Well, Vsoft has done some industry surveys of what is happening in this new environment, and I would like to share some of that data with you. We have seen how the big banks struggled and are still struggling with the processes for PPP, Paycheck Protection Program loans, and to support the underbanked or the unbanked. And those populations of the underbanked or unbanked, when it comes to the millions of stimulus packages and payments that were out there, it was kind of scary. We've also seen how the community banks and community credit unions, they stepped up and they filled major gaps for small businesses and individuals as well. Yet at the same time, we've also seen an uptick in the activity among smaller banks and credit unions as they have hit a wall, or I'd say a major electronic banking industry wall. Yeah, that's what I would call it. But I'd also say it was of their own making because it's something that has been put off for decades. What is this electronic banking industry wall? Well, it's called digital transformation. That's right, digital transformation. It's going to an environment that is more digital, an environment that is cashless, even contactless. And in times, we are now seeing a demand for an environment that is contactless. Well, what caused this? Well, let us dive into the what and the why small businesses and individuals started looking to small banks and credit unions for solutions. But even better, let's see what these financial institutions have done and can do to stay competitive with the larger financial institutions. So Jess, what is leading this resurgence in community banks and credit unions, Professor? The things that we saw the first round of stimulus payments was seamlessly distributed to those who had filed taxes and had active bank accounts. But it wasn't the same story for the underbanked or the unbanked individuals. Now again, according to a study completed by Vsoft, it said that at the beginning of the pandemic, 44% of individuals reported that they would be receiving a physical stimulus check to arrive by mail. And 1 in 3 consumers said they didn't even have a bank account and were concerned about how they were going to cash their checks. Well, to help out those that didn't have an account and get everyone an opportunity to be able to receive electronically, the IRS did set a deadline of May 13th and did give access to a portal where people or individuals could go open a bank account and then go to that portal and submit their direct deposit information to be able to avoid those longer waits, or I'd even say some of the hassles that can come with working with a physical check during a pandemic. Now, this option to be able to get an account open, to be able to get your information to the IRS and then be able to receive a stimulus payment electronically, it actually ended up driving individuals to smaller banks and credit unions within their communities. And the community banks and the credit unions, hey, they stepped up to help. I saw story after story where the community banks and the credit unions came to the aid of those in their communities. That's right, in their own communities, people who know you, to get those stimulus payments processed and to help get accounts open. They really stepped up to help their communities. But it was not just in the stimulus payments that they stepped up to help. We also experienced and saw how small businesses had an incredible an immediate need and ability to gain access to PPP loans. Small businesses that bank with community banks and credit unions experienced actually much quicker access to funds that ultimately acted as a lifeline during this time of crisis that we're all experiencing. It didn't take long for the word to spread, and others started to follow their lead. Something super surprising, though, was that community banks and credit unions reported that as much of 1/3 of the PPP loans went to new clients. Now, I do hope they had good procedures, and I'm sure they did, in place on onboarding those new clients. But new clients! How many of you have been struggling to open new accounts, to get new relationships started? And here we saw, with the stimulus payments and the PPP loans, opportunities. Well, let's stay focused on the PPP program and how the community banks and credit unions really stepped it up. The Small Business Administration, well, they reported that banks with less than $10 billion in assets issued about 60% of the loans during the first round of the PPP. Now, this next statement is really my opinion, but from what I saw during the pandemic, it is that not only are community banks and credit unions more clever and creative at processing and distributing these loans and stimulus payments, they offer a human-to-human connection that big banks simply just don't offer as well or as much anymore. Something else I saw was that the bigger institutions, well, they were kind of handcuffed to their own policies and procedures. And those policies and procedures, well, never saw what the pandemic was going to bring with the stimulus payments or the PPP loans that had to be filed and the way they had to be filed. The smaller institutions, they were actually able and are able to be able to make a direct connection relationship and to make decisions on the fly or adjust the policies and procedures much faster than the larger ones. And they can do it based off of your unique situation much easier. We saw stimulus payments and PPP loans. We saw how community banks and credit unions have really stepped up and filled those gaps. But hold on! I said at the beginning that we would discuss digital transformations, and we will in part 2. If you want to make sure that you don't ever miss one of the Payments Professor's videos or future videos, then please check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/c/paymentsprofessor. While you're there, please make sure you subscribe. And you can also head over to the paymentsprofessor.com website. There you're going to find that we have full courses. They're broken up into short videos like this to make the information easier and more fun to be able to engage and excite you. Well, really be able to learn it without being bored to death by PowerPoint. We're here to help professionals succeed in the world of electronic payments, and we greatly appreciate your support. If there is a video topic that you would like to have created, don't worry. You can leave a message on LinkedIn, you can leave a comment on YouTube, or you can email me, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com. We are here to serve you and to help you, and we do so by making education fun, entertaining, and when we can, engaging. I'll see you in a future class.